I welcome you all to this class of literature where I will try my level best to satisfy your query regarding literature. And this is a general question which evokes in the mind of a literature student when he is admitted in a class of literature. So we start our class with the very first question: what is literature? So when we hear the word literature, so a general notion of something written comes to our mind, that literature is something written. Uh, it is a Latin. In Latin, its meaning is things made from letter. So generally, a layman's approach towards literature is it is a written form. It can be oral too, but the written form is more uh, is given more importance than the oral form. So whatever is written is literature. It is not the case that whatever is written is literature. To become literature, a book or a treatise need to have certain characteristic. It should have common human interest. It should deal with the issues of common men, their problems, their sufferings, their life, their emotions, and literature should also pass the test of time and place. It should have universal problems. It should deal with the life of common men in such a way that whosoever approaches literature, he should get his or her problem reflected or his or her life reflected in literature. Generally, we say that literature is a reflection of, or it is an expression of life in all its color. And so, whatever is there in literature, it is just a reflection of the various colors such as joy, sorrow, achievements, satisfaction, developments, downfall, and life is a mixture of all these things, and so is literature. And a written book or a written piece becomes literature when it is creative. Creativity means the writer, whosoever is engaged in writing literature, he employs his intellectual power, his emotional power, the element of imagination to make it creative and interesting. That that it should appeal to the readers, and it should the readers could enjoy as well as they could learn something. So literature also delineates or it displays many human values such as truth, honesty, love, friendship, freedom, and multitudes of human values are reflected, and this makes literature outstanding and it becomes permanent. Secondly, we comes to the motivations or impetus behind the creation of literature. What are the reasons which motivates one to create literature? The first and foremost reason is the urge of our self, means the to express ourselves, to give voice to ourselves. It is the very first and basic impetus behind create creation of literature. If I am interested in humanity, if I am concerned about my society, my country, my people, their problems, then I will deal with those things in my writings. And whatsoever form I choose to write, whatsoever genre I use to write, it doesn't matter. But main thing is the expression and the delineation of common interest, their issues, their problems, and the solutions, etc. Literature is generally a reflection of either an author's life. It can be very personal. It can deal with the experiences of common man, which I, I, I as a man is empathetic towards them, and I experience their sorrow, their pain, their problems. Then I am able to reflect them, or I am able to write them in literature. Literature also reflects social responsibility, social relations. Suppose I am living in a society and that society has its own social evils, and if I am a good human being, I am an active human being, I need to reflect those uh, evils in my writings. And so, apart from this, the beauty of nature in its quieter aspects as well as in its destructive aspects also attract the writers, and all these things also find reflection in literature. Great events, victories, the deeds of great men, their patriotic works, their services to their country, all all becomes the subject of literature. Then we come to the attributes of literature. Uh, the quality of first and foremost quality of literature is that it should be artistic. Suppose a book of history deal with mere facts, it cannot be termed as a literature. It can only be a record of the historical events. Coming to literature, a historical fiction is more interesting than mere facts of history. So, historical novel, it engages historical facts as well as imagination. So, the put of imagination makes it the novel very interesting, and it becomes artistic. So, the, the, the intellectual quality of the writer, the use of figures, the use of apt words, all these, the use of apt form, all these things make literature artistic. Secondly, literature is suggestive. It teaches us many human values. It appeals to our senses. Whatever beauty is embedded in literature, it appeals to our senses. Suppose we are moving in a garden and the rose flower, its color, its fragrance, the, it will have a total, it will create a total beautiful effect on us. In the same way, literature is a composite whole, and together with all these things like figures, style, diction, and all these things, in a collective way, they create a very beautiful effect, and it has a long lasting effect on the readers. Then we come to the quality of permanence. What makes literature permanent? Hamlet long ago has said many things. Frailty, thy name is woman. So it it is applicable in many of the society at different times. So literature becomes permanent when it expresses such principles, such values which passes the test of time and place. Bacon saying revenge is a wild justice is equally applicable in the present society. So this is the example, this is a very glaring example of the permanence of literature. Then coming to the elements of composition, how is literature constituted? What are the ingredients which are necessary to create a good literature? So the very first raw material is provided by life itself. Life gives us many things such as joys, sorrows, problems, difficulties, developments. All these things are used as raw material for literature. Then the writer, particular writer, he employs the intellectual element, his style, his reading, wide readings as Bacon, as Addison, as Christopher Marlowe has used his intellect in the Dr. Faustus, in creating Dr. Faustus. Then the emotional element, how a writer deals with a particular emotion, a particular situation. It makes literature interesting. Then the most important thing which makes literature interesting is the element of imagination. It is imagination which adds to the charm of literature, because we are not interested in mere reality. Reality mixed with imagination has a long lasting effect on the readers. Life, we need, we love an amalgam of reality and fancy. So, lastly comes the technical element and structure. It it includes the style, the form, the genre, the diction, the use of figures, etc. And it is the outer appearance of the literary piece. It so it is a technical element which is also an important aspect of literature. Then lastly, we come to the purpose of reading literature. What is our aim with which we approach towards literature? So I read this quotation: to perceive not a new world but unnoticed harmony of the old. So literature gives us a perception to view things, view problems, view the society with a novel perception. So, first and foremost aim of reading literature is pleasure and knowledge. We love to, we enjoy knowledge if it is uh, given in a pleasurable manner. Suppose the very first line of Bacon's essay, study serve for delight, for ornament, and for ability. So, when we read it, we learn many things, and it is also pleasurable. Means we we enjoy it and we learn it. It is not boring for us. So this is the best quality of literature, that it teaches us many things but in a pleasurable manner. Secondly, society the problems of society can be raised through literature, and it can help us to reform the society. It can make people aware about the social problems, about the issues, about the issues of man, women, and all other issues are dealt in literature. So finally, we can enjoy a piece of literature by analyzing it. So all these are the purpose of reading literature. So this is not the end. This is only a beginning. So when we meet in our next class, we will discuss about the poetry, metaphysical poetry, epic poetry, and satire poetry.